Hi there, I'm Joshua Finn with J&H Aerospace, and this is the Poly C. This is our newest tip launch free flight glider, so throw it like a discus. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you some of the basics of how to trim one of these. We've done a video before, but I thought we could get a little higher quality footage. So we're going to start out just with the basic glide trimming and go from there. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to be throwing from the left tip, and I'm looking, ultimately my goal is for this airplane to come up around to the left and roll into glide, and it'll glide in right circles. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start by doing some test glides and looking for the airplane to glide off to the right. I don't see any right turn. We're going to fix that. Right, so the first thing we'll do is we're going to cut a little bit of wedge stock here. I'm going to use that to give myself some right rudder trim. If I can get the glue to come out. There we go. Alright, next test glide. Okay, so we're turning right and we're nose heavy. So we're going to put some lead on the nose. Alright, so we're looking a little bit tail heavy with that stall. So if I can get it to stick, I'm going to stick some lead up here on the nose. Ordinarily, I would find a nice slot to stick this in. However, we're flying with radio de-thermalizer today, and it takes up a lot of space inside. I'm not really worried about this adding a lot of drag. I mean, I've got all this other stuff up here that adds much more. Much better. Much better. Alright, so before we throw this, we want to go over a couple things just to explain where we are here. So, incident settings are stock, unadjusted. We're locked in good on our tail boom down here. RDT unit, let me verify that it is working. Good. Because this is our safety device. This plane's probably going to go nuts on the first launch, so this is what we're doing to save it. Also, we have a wash-in wedge on the right wing to prevent spiraling in. We have some weight over here. This is lead to offset sandpaper and extra fiberglass on the wingtip. And we've got a rudder wedge. The other thing is I also have some stab skew. So I don't know if you can tell, but the stab center line is skewed to give us that right turn. Even though with the wash-in wedge it wasn't really quite delivering. So
kind of explain to us about DTs for those that don't know.
All right, so the purpose of the de-thermalizer is to bring the airplane down out of a thermal, but with radio de-thermalizer, it's also an insurance policy that if your airplane goes bananas, you can get it down. Now, the kit that we sell for this comes with a cutout and includes a damper for a traditional de-thermalizer. And
viscous.
We have some
traditional viscous damper,
viscous damper,
is one of those that you'll set it for, you know, say 90 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever, and it will come down at that time. Now, with radio,
and you can put a little extra tension on and set them up to run short, so you run like 10 seconds or even 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And they work quite nicely for that. But this gives me an instantaneous response. And
so it's one of those things with the viscous damper. If if you throw it and it starts going in automatically, you're stuck with, it's going to crash.
You have no intervention, which is traditional, and
yes,
the way I've trimmed all of my discus gliders prior to this one.
But most of your free flight discus launch flyers is switching over to
Yeah.
the
This type of
radio controlled
technology is becoming dominant. All right, so I'm gonna we'll give it a full turn. And okay, so the de-thermalizer did not activate like it was supposed to. Well, it did, and the problem is I'm gonna have to engineer a little pin or something. If this slips down here, it gets stuck, and I think that's what the problem was. I think it had gotten caught in the grass, and I wasn't, or when I was messing with it, it wasn't paying attention. The other problem, though, is this thing does shut off after a little while. There we go. I think the battery's low, and it's working. All right. Anyway, we're all set to go. I increased the band tension, so that should not be a problem. The launch looked good. I just need to throw it harder because it didn't have enough speed to pull all the way through. Looking good. Looking very good. That part's handy. This will make you so lazy. All right, so the launch there looked good. The airplane is curving around like it should. If at this point you need a certain amount of rudder to get the airplane to turn in the glide, and it's straightening out in the climb, you might add more weight to that inside, or to that right wing. And that will keep this wing swinging around so that the airplane will stay in the turn. If it's showing a tendency to spiral in at high speeds, maybe add some more wash-in wedge. So far this one's flying largely off the board. I may need to add some more incidents. We're gonna see about that part here in a minute. We're good. So and we do want to aim about 5 to 10 degrees nose up for your launch, no more than that. On that launch, I gave this airplane pretty close to full power, and it went up and kind of stalled before dropping in the glide. And I would like a little more secure of a transition. So, I can find the correct screwdriver here. Pulled out the same one, dum-dum. What we're gonna do is unscrew this little screw right here a little bit. And it's a little tight because I have sealed everything in here. And that may be too much. There we go, we'll try that. So that increases our stab incidence, and it will cause the airplane to loop more at high speeds, and that should pull it up and around to the transition a little better. The airplane's going kind of flat on me. All right, let's try that. Very nice. So what we saw there was I launched the airplane out this way. It came completely around and transitioned into the glide. Very nice steep climb, and it looked like it had about the right airspeed. So let's fire it off again and verify. Oh yeah. Alright, so that's the second time we've seen just a very nice climb. I'm liking what I've got here. The airplane may be a little bit nose heavy. I'll have to adjust in the future as I fly it more. It's a little too breezy to fully evaluate that. I'm going to try and let it go a little longer on this flight. The wind's kind of blowing back that way, so I'll have to DT it before it gets down to fence level. But other than that, should be safe to let it go a little bit longer. So that has us largely trimmed on this airplane. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it with one of these. This elliptical shape, forward swept elliptical wing shape has been around since the 1930s, and this is with just some stretching. This is the same airfoil or same plan form that was on the Poly in 1947 and 48. Tail surface outlines are roughly similar, again stretched in chord and span, but the shape is the same. It's very, very forgiving. There is a reason to believe that the sweepette style planform, which is basically this turned around, is more efficient. I'm finding, for me personally, on tip launch gliders, that it's harder to trim. And that's for me personally. I know a lot of people will probably have different experience, but this plan form has worked well for a lot of people. Just it's very forgiving. I guess it's just harder to screw up, even if it's not technically as efficient. It's very close. And the Discus Kid, which is similar to this, has won many national championships just because it's so consistent. So anyway, all that to say, what you've seen here is very easy trimming. You've seen me make very few adjustments because it just hasn't needed that many. Some planes may require more. And if you watch the video on the sweepette, you'll see me spending a little more time on it. It is a smaller airplane, so the flight regimes are slightly different. This is almost a full 36-inch airplane, so the operating regimes are different. It's a lot heavier, has more meat to it, and frankly, I think that makes it a little easier to trim for an adult. For a child, you need to go smaller because the issue that you run into is that the wingspan becomes too much of a percentage of the distance from their body core to the fuselage. Anyway, all that to say, this airplane is trimmed to my satisfaction. I would probably, like I said, I may tweak the CG a little bit to optimize the glide. However, it's very, very close. I've been noticing it's bobbing along very nicely. I would evaluate that further based on what it does in thermals. So unfortunately, before my next contest, I'm not going to have much time to do that. So we'll see how that part goes. I'm very pleased with the de-thermalizer unit. Just makes things that much easier. I have to do much less walking with that because I can just de-thermalize it down to myself. And if anything goes wrong, just abort the flight. Don't have to spend a lot of time waiting on a plane to come down from a bad launch either. So that's handy. You get more flights in one flying session with this. So y'all should check out these. I'll put a link to the supplier for these down below. So anyway, we'll see you later. Hi, I'm Josh Finn. This is Hope. We are J&H Aerospace.
If you like this video, hit the like button.
Also, how about subscribe to our channel and check out jhaerospace.com for new free flight products and all of the tooling that you'll need to build them.
Thanks for watching.